Hi, and thank you for tuning in to my 1.2 tool tutorial presentation. My name is Nicholas Jones, and we'll be going over ARG viral marketing, otherwise known as alternate reality gaming viral marketing. So I'm sure many of you are wondering what ARG viral marketing is and have questions on how it's used in everyday life and marketing and whatnot. So before we jump into ARG viral marketing, let's first understand what viral marketing is. Viral marketing is where people are inspired to accept a message and share the message via the internet or word of mouth. So they try to publicize an idea or brand by using the community instead of paying money to make advertisements. Alternate reality game viral marketing, or ARG viral marketing, as we said, expands on that concept, and Adam Sykes has a great explanation of it. An alternate reality game is the catch-all term for an interactive networked narrative that uses the real world as an integral platform and combines multiple media forms, transmedia, to deliver a detailed fictional experience. So, ARG marketing goes off of fictional experiences. So, you may think of like a sci-fi movie or a sci-fi game, something of that nature, and expands on that. So, through expanding on that topic, we sooner or later come to the very end of the experience to where we learn of the brand or some information towards what was the campaign of that advertisement. Getting involved in an ARG. So pretty sure many of you are curious, how does one participate in an ARG? Usually it can begin as something as simple as a card with a subliminal message written on it, being handed out to a crowd, or a poster or movie trailer having a phone number hidden in ad or something within that trailer. That phone number, if called, can lead you to another website or have a voicemail with a clue in it that has to be deciphered, and thus the game starts. So the target market for ARGs is expansive, including any and all who hear about it and participate. However, it is wise to introduce your ARG to the correct target market or audience. So what I mean by that is, if you're doing an ARG on a movie or game, you want to be sure to market towards gamers or movie enthusiasts. It wouldn't be wise to try to market to people that are into cars or board games, because that's not your target audience. People are pulled in by social media, posters, text messages, email, radio, websites, live events, and videos are just some of the platforms that are used in the ARG project, like I mentioned. Within these platforms, clues lead to website forums, real-world destinations, etc. that hold more clues to be unsolved. It is by individuals sharing the ARG that it grows by word of mouth or internet. So why would somebody want to participate in ARG? Many people participate in ARGs for the problem solving and mystery deciphering that takes place. They also participate to get the street credit to being the first to discover or learn the answer to clues or the entire campaign that has been formed. By participating, you can learn about the fictional world that game involves around, or perhaps earn prizes. I think back to Halo 2, they were giving out prizes for the first people to decipher their ARG campaign. There is one instance where teams of 4 had to solve the hunt the signal. First team to solve had characters made in their likeness for the upcoming game Halo 5. So once again, another Halo game that has used ARG. There's actually been quite a few ARGs for the Halo franchise. Now that we have talked about what ARG viral marketing is and why one might participate in it, let's switch gears to talk about the marketing side of ARGs. ARG marketing attracts media attention, resulting in earned media in the form of publicity. Now, as I mentioned before, usually these ARGs don't put, or I should say the companies or corporation don't put much money towards making them. However, the companies and corporations that can fork out more money have been known to spend up to like $5 million in their campaign ads or informing or creating the ARG marketing platform. While there are players to the ARG game, there are also lurkers and rubberneckers, which follow the game but do not actively participate. Those are lurkers. And there's rubberneckers who participate in forums but do not actively play the game. According to unifiction.com, which is in our textbooks, the ratio of lurkers to active players can vary from 5 to 1 to 20 to 1 depending on the game or content that's being covered. Lurkers and rubberneckers add to the campaign's publicity while not being directly involved. Most businesses that use this tool are in entertainment. Entertainment provides more opportunities to expand on their entertainment platform by evolving the ARG around their game or movie or whichever their entertainment service is. This tool is best used to gain as much publicity for a product without entirely revealing what the product is until the puzzle is solved. So, like we've been talking about, having mysteries or puzzles, like I just said, to find out what the brand is or what the backstory or content is to be revealed by the ARG. One example is Audi, which went about having an ARG that was a car heist, and towards the very end, you would learn that the brand or corporation behind the ARG game was Audi. Now, this type of branding is known as dark play ARG, where the brand or corporation isn't known right off the front end. It's learned later on. They've also dubbed this as dark marketing, which refers to a promotion that disguises the sponsoring brand. ARG marketing risk. Marketing risks vary when using ARG, but one of them is that the story is liable to change or take a different course than intended due to the player's interaction with the game, or remarks or comments left on forums, or discussions in communities that get linked. So the players do have a huge benefactor to changing the game if they so decide to. To help in monitoring that and making sure that doesn't happen, there are puppet masters that are put in place, which are the writers who develop the plot and constantly monitor the game and story. Now, there's also the issue with some players wanting more information after the game's end, which requires monitoring input beyond the game's end. Because the game's possibility to evolve in an unanticipated direction, developers are at significant risk of the game process progressing in a different direction. Hardcore loyalists or people who were there right from the get-go of the ARG may resent new players and joining or coming into the community itself. There's also considerable risk of targeting the wrong influencer or audience or becoming viral on the other side of the planet where the product may not even be available. There's also the risk of people not passing along the game or message to bring in new observers and players. This was a halt in the campaign taking off in the beginning. So this is more of an issue in the very beginning of the ARG campaign, not so much towards the end. For if it's progressed this far, it's usually already caught on amongst the community. Now we're going to move into some sample campaigns that have been successful in the past. The largest one I can think of is the Halo franchise. In 2004, leading up to Halo 2's release, there was an ARG campaign called I Love Bees. Halo 3 in 2007, there was ARG Iris that gave backstory to how the great conflict of the Halo series all began if solved. Halo 4 had the ARG Section 3, and Halo 5, Hunt the Signal. Hunt the Signal I've already talked about, where there were teams of 4, and the first team to solve the puzzle actually got characters made in the game of it in their likeness. Of all of these, in my opinion, I Love the Bees is still the most well-known and received. Had a lot of feedback, especially for the year 2004, where the use of internet and social media was still being developed. I Love Bees campaign for Halo 2 actually started with honey bottles that were delivered to certain outlets, and on the honey itself there was a website URL, but in the middle of the www.net or .com, the URL was not there, and inside the honey bottle there were cut up letters from which you had to dig out, and when the letters were put in the right order, it spelled out www.ilovebees.com. Now, going to that website, and about spending maybe 30 seconds on there, a message would pop up saying that AI had gone rampant and that the website is having issues. And then there was a help forum or FAQ on the bottom where if you click on that, it brought you to another site where you could actually speak to the so-called owner of that website and help her try to fix the website's issues. Now, many people thought this was actually a real problem, that the site was real. However, it was part of the ARG, the campaign. Now, later on, when the Halo 2 game was advertised, in the very end, where it says Xbox, like I have up in this slide, at the very bottom, it had www.xbox.com, but it glitched out saying I love bees for a brief second. This gave people the information that the whole I love bees campaign was actually much larger than what people thought it was. So through solving the ARG, you actually got a message that played to you that gave you some information about the new game being or coming soon. Pokemon Go is another ARG that I feel is a little more complex or advanced than some of the other ARG campaigns that have been put out. For those unfamiliar with Pokemon Go, it's a game on your mobile phone where while you're outdoors or traveling, you can actually play the game with your environment. So by having the app open and looking around your surroundings, you can find different Pokemon to capture. There are other players in the vicinity. You can fight with them, go into arena and whatnot. So some companies have collaborated with Pokemon Go to provide promotions for the actual game. 6 years ago, in 2015, Kansas City Royals teamed up with Pokemon Go, offering in-game content to those who came to the baseball game. By this ARG, you play the game, and by going to the baseball game and purchasing tickets to it, that was marketing for the Kansas City Royals arena or baseball stadium. And by purchasing that ticket, you had the opportunity to get certain items within the game, like Pokemon balls or specific items that helped you towards advancing in the game itself. Two other ARG marketing campaigns came from Batman the Dark Knight, which is probably one of the most well-received ARGs ever devised, and another one from Fortnite Season 5. The Batman ARG was called Why So Serious, thus pointing fingers towards the Joker. People dress up as the Joker around the globe, as seen in one of the pictures provided. This brought publicity and social media publicity towards the film coming out. There was also the ARG campaign online, which, if completed, provided a picture of Heath Ledger's Joker or a picture of Harvey Dent, depending on which team you allied with. Now, this was before any of the commercials or trailers came out for the TV show, for the movie. So receiving that was a reward before anyone knew how the characters were actually going to look or who was playing them. Fortnite, for Season 5, promoted their game by putting life-size props in the real world. They had messages to be deciphered, which if deciphered, you would get coordinates to where these life-size objects were, and you could visit them, thus attaining information on how the new season was going to be, what islands were going to be in it, and how the world might actually interact with your character. An honorable mention of ARG marketing, and at least I believe it's an honorable mention, comes from A Christmas Story, which I'm sure probably many of you have watched. This evolves when Ralphie sits around the family radio to tune in to the radio show to receive Annie's secret message. Now, for the audience, you had to be a Orphan Annie secret agent member to have the deciphering tools to decipher the message within the radio show. The show host reads off the numbers to decipher, and Ralphie is seen in the bathroom deciphering it with his special deciphering tool. And upon deciphering the message, it reads, "Remember to drink your Ovaltine." Ovaltine was a milk product, I think malt, and So this ARG kind of was meant for children. That was the target audience. But this was before computers and all the technology we have now. I mean, it was just kids sitting in front of radio, and that's it. So I kind of feel like this is the very beginning of ARG marketing before it's exploded to what we know now. But that marketing in itself lets you decipher messages and codes and everything. And then in the very end, you have a marketing advertisement that you have deciphered. Monetization. ARG marketing brings money into the company by reducing advertisement costs and increasing the publicity of the brand or product, leading to bigger sales toward release. Monetization is rarely used as ARG is applied to fictional worlds or experiences. When companies use ARG marketing, they're mainly making a fictional game that brings advertisement to themselves or publicity by relying on the community itself to spread the message of their ARG and campaign. There maybe one or two examples of monetization I can think of. One being it's told in the book. It has to do with Stranger Things on Netflix, where the fictional ice cream parlor in the show, Scoops Ahoy, has a ad that references to Baskin Robbins having a new special flavor. Through this ARG campaign, Baskin Robbins was involved, which had clues in their stores that led to information being discovered with the Stranger Things show. And at the very end, if solved, or the first person that solved it, they got a trip to the Stranger Things set and lifetime supply of ice cream, while I believe next 5 people that solved it got a year of free ice cream. With monetization, that's only the example I can think of where another company could have paid to include their advertisement within this other ARG campaign for advertising. Conclusion. ARG marketing can be an expensive to inexpensive way of increasing awareness for promoting a brand or product. Companies depend on their audience to share advertising campaigns and experiences with others, thus growing the awareness and the community itself. If done poorly, it can produce unfavorable results and tarnish the company's reputation. While ARGs can bring in much publicity and recognition, mass media campaigns are a safer route if worried about the acceptance of the ARG amongst the community. ARGs in general, I feel, are a great marketing campaign when used in the form of entertainment, for it can provide experiences that open people up to this fictional world that they may be experiencing in an upcoming movie or video game. It could also provide backstory or more information to the story that otherwise will leave some people lost without having that knowledge or information. Overall, I feel that the ARG campaigns can be a useful tool, but in the long run, there are probably other media tools that can be used to better share the publicity and advertising campaign that companies want to have. Chapter content, pages 285 to 289. Vocab words and how they connect. So we've already talked about a few vocab words throughout the presentation, some of those being lurkers and rubberneckers, which were people who do not completely participate in the game but follow the game, so that's adding publicity to the campaign. There are puppet masters, who are the writers and monitors of the game, making sure that it goes in the direction it's meant to go in. There was also the dark market or dark play ARG, which was Audi's Audi was one of the companies or brands that used that marketing, where we did not figure out the brand until the very end of the game. There's also a few others that we skipped over, like the collective detective, which acknowledges the need for a team approach to solve the mystery. Many of the mysteries that need to be solved are kind of impossible without social media or a community to back you up and help you. There's also the rabbit hole, which we discussed, which is like someone handing out a card in a crowd with information on there that leads you to a website or a phone number that leads you to another clue. That's what initiates the game, so that's the rabbit hole. Most ARGs are tied to entertainment, like we spoke about, those being video games, books, and movies. And the most successful ARGs for it's pretty much entertainment, advertising entertainment. So those are some of the chapter content, vocab words, and information that tie into ARGs. I hope y'all learned something, and thank you for listening.